go.
All right, can everybody hear me?
Yep.
All right. I'd like to call the meeting of the St. Louis County Board of Zoning Adjustment to order. The board members present today are Justin Randall, Vice Chair, and Vince Nutt, Member. The Department of Planning staff members are Gretchen Arnold, Abby Freudel, Peter Guerin, and Abiola Adesanya. Also on the call is John Burford from the County Counselor's Office. First, I offer into the record the affidavit of publication pertaining to today's meeting, October 4th, 2023. The board hereby takes official notice and admits into evidence on the record the St. Louis County Zoning and Ordinance, Chapter 1003, St. Louis County Revised Ordinance 1974 as amended, and Chapter 1004, St. Louis County Revised Ordinance 1974 as amended. Next, I would call for a motion to approve the minutes of the previous BZA meeting of September 20th, 2023.
Second.
All right, all those in favor respond with an aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the minutes are approved. The meeting is conducted as a teleconference and is recorded. The planning staff will read each request into the record and present technical advice to the board if needed. The petitioner will then be unmuted, state their name, and make a brief presentation to the board explaining the reason and hardship for the requested variance. The board will not consider financial hardships. The board members may ask questions to clarify the facts. Then ask if there is anyone in favor or opposition to the request. To do so, click the hand next to your name. If any comments were submitted, staff will read them into record. Before a call for the vote, the petitioner may request a continuance in order to bring additional documentation. The board may also request a continuance to gather additional information or for a visit to the site. Once comments have been heard, the chairperson will call for a vote. At that time, the discussion has ended and no further discussion is permitted. The board will generally make a decision today. Since there are only 2 members at this time, if the board's vote is split 1-1, the request will be continued until the next regularly scheduled meeting when all 3 members are present. If a variance is approved, the petitioner has 6 months to obtain the necessary permits or establish the use requested, or the variance will expire. The petitioner or any interested parties has the right of appeal to the St. Louis County Circuit Court. A paper indicating the board's decision will be mailed to the petitioners. With that, I believe we can open up the first meeting or first case. Gretchen?
Yep. So 62-23 was requested to be postponed until the next board meeting. So with that, we will jump forward to 63-23, Jeremy Durham, which is a request for an exception to the side yard regulations for the purpose of constructing concrete stairs at 7142 Shady Hill Drive, maintaining a side yard of 2 feet in lieu of 6 feet as required by the R2 Residence District regulations of the St. Louis County Zoning Ordinance and PEU Ordinance 14,266. Jeremy, I am going to request for you to unmute. Again, please just state your first and last name for the record, and then feel free to present to the board.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jeremy Durham. Thank you for the opportunity to present today. So you can see an overhead aerial view of my house. Doesn't give you a tremendous view of what we're going on, but we're requesting this variance because we're trying to do a more permanent fix to a considerable amount of erosion damage that has happened. I'm under the impression that you have been given copies of the photographs that I submitted with all of the erosion damage. Our temporary attempt at fixes with the keystone wall. The concrete slab that currently sits on the side of our house has 5 inches of drop and has started sliding to the back of the house. So that is all going to be replaced with a same size shed, same size pad. Off of that pad, instead of the wooden steps that you can see the remnants of what is left from the erosion, we're going to be doing poured concrete steps. So there will be a footing poured around the perimeter of the steps, which will come down the edge of the foundation. There will be a roughly 5.5 by 5.5 foot landing at the top of those steps that will join with that concrete slab that you're seeing right now. The new one, obviously not that one, because that's going to get torn out and replaced. And it will all be compact with rebar and gravel to pour the steps. And you can see a good shot there of all of our attempts to try and stave off that erosion. Really, it's kind of cut and dried. It's really become dangerous for us to even enter our backyard from that side. And we're just looking to do a more permanent and albeit very expensive fix to remedy this 19 years worth of erosion damage.
Okay, thank you for that. Vince, do you have any questions of the petitioner?
Just one question, just to confirm. So the proposed width of the stair, do we say that?
The width of the stairs will be roughly 5.5 feet.
Okay, and is that larger than the wooden stairs that were currently there rolling away?
Well, the wooden stairs go down towards the backyard, towards the back fence. The new stairs are going to make a 90-degree turn and will be anchored both to a 45-degree support wall and into the foundation. So that landing will be at the very top, sort of where those wooden steps are. And then that 5.5 foot by 5.5 foot landing will make a 90-degree turn and head down the steps along the foundation wall with a permanent railing on the outside.
Steph, can you go back to the site plan that you had up earlier?
Do you want this one or the
Yeah,
yellow
yeah,
one?
that's perfect. So there's nothing to do with the shed. It's really the stairs, correct?
Yes, it's
Stairs and the retaining wall. The
And the
shed
retaining
will
wall.
be,
Yep,
yeah,
got it.
the shed will be within the 6 feet of the property line. But the current pad is right now 14 inches from the property line, and everything else that's going to be going in down the property line or down the fence line will be, as you can see, the previous owner didn't want to mess with a survey, so they put the left side of that fence well inside the property line. You can see it's 3 feet 4 inches down at the back part of the yard. So the further you go back in my yard, the further everything gets from the property line.
Gotcha. Perfect. All right. I don't have any further questions. Vince, do you have anything?
No further questions.
Okay, at this time, I will ask if there is anybody in the meeting that would like to speak for or against the proposed variance.
I don't see any hands, so at this time I'm going to mute the petitioner so the board can take a vote.
Which number is this again? Sorry.
63-23.
63. I will make a motion in approval of the variance for 63-23, noting that the hardship for the stair only is on the property line, exceeding hazard for trying to safety issues. So with that being said,
I'll second that motion. All those in favor respond with an aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right.
Alrighty. 64-23 Todd Odenhall is a request for an exception to the side and rear yard regulations for the purpose of constructing a retaining wall and fence at 1756 Lance End Lane, maintaining a side yard of 0 feet in lieu of 6 feet and a rear yard of 5 feet in lieu of 15 feet as required by the R2 Residence District regulations of the St. Louis County Zoning Ordinance and PEU Ordinance 13,338. So at this time, I'm going to unmute the petitioner and their representative Again, for both of you, if you don't mind just stating your name first and last before you speak, that'd be helpful for us. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Ty Malone. I'm the contractor for this job. In all reality, all we're trying to do is fix this failing wall that's already there. We're just trying to tear it down and put it back in the exact same spot that it's sitting. It's just kind of simple. We're not trying to change anything than what's already existing there. Didn't know we were going to run into this issue when we first looked at it. Just trying to figure out how to move forward with this as best as possible. As you can see, the wall runs down the back there. If you go to the other corner, I don't know if there's a picture of that. It's already separating, so it is failing. It was not put together right. Whoever built it first put a lot of corner seams straight on top of each other. Didn't interlock those bricks to keep them secure. So we're wanting to tear that down. Otherwise, it's going to end up falling down. Just trying to prevent any further damage to any other property, his property, and then just reestablish the fence that was on top of that wall.
Okay, thank you for that. Vince, do you have any questions of the applicant?
We could zoom in onto the survey. I think there was a survey attached site plan. Just wanted to confirm, looks like we were in line with an easement, just to assure.
Yeah, just on the inside line of the easement.
And we're just wanted to ensure that we are proposing staying within side of that easement barrier.
Yes, sir.
Location. Okay. And next, for staff, is there any previous variance that is recorded for this?
I would not be able
I
to
can look
attest
that
to
up
that.
really
Can you look that
quickly
up?
if you
Thank you,
hold.
Abby.
Pending the answer to that, Justin, I have no other questions.
Yeah, no. Okay. So while the staff looks that up, I'm going to ask to see if there's anybody in the meeting that is would like to speak in favor or opposition of this particular case.
So we do have some neighbors on the call. So what I'm going to do for the moment is I will mute the petitioner's representative, and then I will have the individual neighbors one at a time just to check and see if they have anything. And then we'll allow Ty to be unmuted again after that.
I
Thank
do
you.
not see any previous requests for a variance on this property.
Thank you, Abby.
Thank you.
Okay, so Dave and Jane, I'm gonna request for you to unmute real quick. And then again, for both of you, just please state your first and last names if either one of you plans to talk, just for our records.
Yes, my name is Dave Henroyd, and my wife's here, Jane.
Jane Henroyd.
Yes, I'll tell you, we've talked to our neighbor, and fundamentally, we don't have a objection. However, the sketch that we're looking at here, the wall location, I believe, is not what we were led to believe. Actually, we're of the understanding the wall placement is going to be right on the property line. And this sketch right here shows the 126 foot length there. That is the property line, but this wall is on the property line. That's where the present location is. So I think there's a little misrepresentation here. But I could say we've talked to Todd, and we're agreeable to, as far as our concerns, that the wall can be placed, but all along the property line. And this red line here on the sketch does not indicate that on our side. So I think that perhaps our engineer needs to revamp that for what is actually being asked for.
Okay, thank you, sir. We'll talk with the applicant here in just a second to gets clarification on that. All right.
Thank you.
All right, so I'm gonna put Dave now on mute, and then the other neighbor is David Jackson. Again, David, just please state your name for the record and when you accept that request.
I'm David Jackson, and I'm a neighbor. I really have no problem with them repairing the wall.
Okay. Thank you for coming today and giving us your statement. At this time, if we could get Ty back on to discuss the location of the wall real quick.
Yep, Ty, I sent you a request.
Yes, I got that.
All right, Ty, so I think you should have been able to hear, but there's some discussion about the, not quite sure, but looking at the site plan that we see right now, we'll call it north, just the upper property line shown being set back several feet. And then on the south side, for what we're looking at, it looks to be on the property line. Is that an accurate representation or?
That was just off of the measurements that we took off the house and tried to scale down onto the plot plan. So it could be just slightly off there. It is planned to go exactly back where the wall sits.
Because if I don't
So
mind, I'm going to jump in. Just one more clarification, because I think I misheard you the last time. Is the wall currently on the property line or on the easement variance line?
So my understanding of it when I talked with Todd was that it was just off the property line in the back, almost right on the property line. I'm trying to look at mine and find the north arrow real quick. Guess the south side was like almost on the property line, and then that north side was kind of off the property line, almost on the easement line. So that's where we were putting it all back in. Obviously, it's not perfectly surveyed out there with stakes, so I can't 100% promise you that it's on that where it sits, but we were planning to go back right where it is.
Okay, well, I mean,
I think there's a caveat to this.
yeah,
This request can't prove one that is on an easement.
yeah, well, I mean, the way they're showing it, it's shown to be off the easement on that property line to the north and then on the property line to the south, but there's no easement, so.
Correct.
Well, I mean, based on the information that we have, I don't have any opposition to the location of the wall. I guess the thing would be, and Ty, maybe this is a question for you. I mean, do you guys want us to consider the application as it sits today, or do you guys want time to go double check everything and come back at the next meeting?
Sorry to really quick here.
Mhm.
One of the neighbors has their hands raised
Oh.
again. So I'm gonna unmute them real quick just so we can see if they have anything further. And then Ty, I'll unmute you again. Yes, Dave.
Yes, I hate to be a bother here, but we talked to Todd, our neighbor, and who's the petitioner here, and he provided us with a sketch very similar to what we're looking at here, and it very clearly shows the wall right along the property line. Okay, and this sketch we're looking at here does not. It shows it inside the easement. I just want a clarification here because, like I say, yeah, we really have no objection with the wall placement where it is today, but I think that the sketch and maybe Todd can get on and clarify what the position is here because it's a little confusing, and I'd just like to know what we're agreeing to here today.
All right, thanks, Dave. All right, so I do have him muted. Let me get Ty back up. And Todd is also unmuted. So Todd, again, just before you start speaking, just please state your name for the record.
Okay, Todd Odenall. So we did review that with the Henroids, and again, they're comfortable with it where it is, which is on the property line, just inside of the property line. So it isn't right on the easement line. It is up to the property line on that side of the 126.59.
So
So again, that's where it sits today.
staff, I mean, do they have to do anything with clearing easements or anything? Is that, it's showing as an easement?
Abby, you might be able to attest to that a little more than me. But if my understanding, and Abby, correct me if I'm wrong, if there is an easement out there, they will need to either see if they can vacate that, but it depending on what it is, that may not be a possibility.
Yeah, essentially that's correct. If they're proposing work in the easement, they would need basically permission from whoever the easement is granted to. So, if it's an MSD easement or whomever, basically stating that they can put the wall in the easement. But MSD might come and tear up the land and destroy the wall, and that's the
Right.
understanding.
And that is the understanding. And fortunately, this is not a very tall wall here in this portion of it. It's a pretty short area of the wall. So what I'm trying to say, the wall is not very tall in that area. So it's not a very big deal. Should there need to be work there, but
Okay, so
Does the board have any more questions for the petitioner or their representative, or would you like for me to put them on mute so the board can discuss?
I think for now, I've got enough information from them. I
Vince,
guess
you're
my
on mute.
question would be for staff. Do we need, does the notice need to be redone? Because I mean, we're
So-
looking at a site plan that's not
Yeah, that's what
accurate to what the request is.
I know, that's what I'm kind of wondering. Again, Abby, you might have a little more of an opinion in that. We do have it listed on the public hearing notice. The side yard is 0 feet in lieu of 6 feet, and a rear yard of 5 feet in lieu of 15. So we do have it advertised where it's not directly on the property line. And on this
And the
image
side
we're
would,
seeing, and the side is 0, which would be so. I think that's kind of, Abby, I don't know if you have an opinion of if that should be fixed.
To reflect the distance from the easement, do you mean,
well,
Justin, or what exactly do you mean?
so,
Go
so
ahead.
the one side yard shows it on the property line, but the others on the, what we're looking at on the screen right now, the other one shows it off the easement and not needing a variance.
Mm-hmm.
So I just don't.
Yeah,
Neighbor doesn't, the neighbor doesn't care, so I'm not, and if that's truly where the wall is, then I don't necessarily have too big of an issue. I just don't want there to be an issue if we do approve this, or do we need to continue it, or what does staff recommend Vince and I do at this point?
Typically for side yard setbacks, it's not you know, the north side versus the south side.
Okay.
It's just the side yard.
Got it.
So that it, needs a 0-foot setback from looking at the plan, we'll call it the south property line. It needs a 0-foot setback from that southern property line, southern side property line, but not from the northern. It meets the setback. Even if the setback was 0 feet, it meets it for the north. So I don't think that's a particular concern.
Okay. Mr. Burford, do you have any thoughts?
So I guess we're approving a variance based on this drawing, which shows a 6-foot easement setback and shows that it's on the easement property line, which doesn't
But
align with the 0.
the setbacks are from the property lines, not from easement
Correct,
lines.
Mr. Randall, to answer your question, we would have to continue the matter, and I could take a look at it after if you wanted to.
Yeah. Understood. All right, Vince, do you have any other concerns or anything?
No, not at this time.
Based on what we've heard and the existing nature of the wall, I'm going to recommend for 64-23 that we approve a variance to both the north and, both side yard property lines to 0 feet.
I would add to that based on their current location as the hard.
Yeah, fair. Yep.
I second that.
All right, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right.
Can I ask a
Variance is
clarifying
approved.
question for my notes?
Mhm.
Justin, in your motion, you just mentioned the side yard setback.
Yeah, sorry. I'll redo my motion. I recommend approval of the requested variance as advertised for the both side yards and the rear yard property line.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, motion passes.
'65 23 Kathleen Altoff is a request for an exception to the rear yard regulations for the purpose of constructing a deck at 1314 Summers End Drive, maintaining a rear yard of 6 feet in lieu of 15 feet as required by the R3 Residence District regulations of the St. Louis County Zoning Ordinance and PEU Ordinance 14,550. Kathleen, I'm going to request for you to unmute, and CJ, I'm also going to request for you to unmute. Again, if either one of you talks, please just state your first and last name for the record.
Hi, Kathy Altoff. I'm requesting a variance to replace my current deck. It's going to be basically the same size, a little bit smaller. And the reason is because it's falling apart. I have some support structures underneath it. And the understructure is about 32, 33 years old. That's all.
All right, thank you. Vince, do you have any questions?
So just wanted to confirm, this is a structural concrete pad deck, or is this a wood deck
It's a
proposed?
wood deck.
Okay. No further questions.
And I just want to confirm that the size is the same. It's not getting any larger, correct?
No, correct.
Thank you. Okay, at this time, is there anyone in the meeting that would wish to speak on 65-23, either for or against?
I don't see any hands, so at this time, I'm going to mute the petitioner and their representative just so the board can take a vote. And this is 65-23.
In the case of 65-23, I propose to make a motion in favor of variance for the newly configured deck to be within the same perimeter of the existing deck, knowing that the hardship is that we are staying within the same confines of the original deck footing.
I will second that motion. All those in favor signify with an aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. All right, motion carries, and your paperwork will be sent to you guys.
66-23 Christopher Bach is a request for an exception to allow the construction of a 52-foot by 24-foot detached garage, which will be more than half of the footprint of the home and over 1,000 square feet in size at 3201 Union Road, as required by Section 4 of the R4 Residence District Regulations of the St. Louis County Zoning Ordinance. And Chris, I'm going to request for you to unmute. Again, please just state your first and last name for the record and present to the board.
Oh, hello. My name is Christopher Bach. I'm requesting a variance, as you know, to build a 1,250 square foot garage on my property. Basically, I do have a very small house, so I don't have very much storage in the house. And part of the purpose of this garage is to store my vehicles, store my lawn equipment, which is all stored outside now, and to also kind of get rid of the log jam in my house and get some stuff out of it. So, oh yeah, there you go. So yeah, it will be. I guess you guys came and took some pictures. I have it all staked out over there. So it's 16 feet from the property line. My backyard is all fenced. So yeah, I mean currently I have very, very little storage at the house, and I keep my vehicles outside, and I'd like to be able to secure them along with my other possessions that are stored outside now.
Okay, thank you for that, Chris. Vince, do you have any questions of Chris at this time?
Is the proposed garage a single story?
It is a single story, and there is no loft.
I'm sorry, there's no what?
Loft.
Oh, there's no second story or loft.
Oh, loft.
Anything of that sort.
Yep, got it. Chris, do you know the size of your house?
The size of my house is roughly, hold on, it is the main part of my house is, it's about, the main part of my house, not including my sunroom, is 1,156 square feet. That doesn't include my sunroom, or I have a little carport back there as well. So yeah, I'm guessing that the floor, yeah, maybe somewhere around 1,500 square feet. I'm not too sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's just when you got a detached garage almost as large as the existing single family, that's obviously you understand that's why you're here for the variance.
Though, I do have a large yard, so I have a full acre lot, and this doesn't even take up 3% of my lot. And I am on a main road, so that's another reason why I'd like to be able to keep mine and my girlfriend's vehicles indoors. And I didn't want to add on to the house, so that's the reason why I made this detached.
Yeah. And I know you mentioned lawn equipment early on. You're not running a business out of it. That's your personal stuff.
Oh yeah. Yes, it is I do not have a business
Okay, gotcha.
in lawn care. In lawn care.
Okay. Okay. I don't
Justin,
have any further questions. Vince, do you?
None, no additional.
according to the assessor's information, the total living area is 1,723 square feet.
Yeah, but that's including a
That's
small.
the total living area, yeah.
Yeah, that's a half story included in that. So, my house, it was electrified in 1912. It was built before that. And it's kind of archaic how it's constructed. It has 3 bedrooms, but really they're not bedrooms because I looked at the county's what a bedroom is, and it has to have what a closet and be a certain height. Like I don't really have any of that over here.
Yeah.
So
But
yeah,
you want that number as big as you can get it, because like the variance requests, you can only have 50% of your the house size. So
oh yeah,
that's
so
why.
I guess everything upstairs. I think she's right according to the tax records.
I didn't see any photos of the house. Is the existing deck on the house, is that a concrete structure or is that wood? Is that paved?
Oh, my house does not have any decks. Oh, that is the carport, and it has concrete, um, to drive on.
Okay. So paving.
Yeah, and actually there was a structure in the area of my proposed structure in the past. This house used to have a bunch of outbuildings and barns, um, that are obviously no longer there, but.
Okay. Thank you, Chris. Vince, or you have any other questions for Chris?
No additional questions.
All right, thank you. At this time, I'm going to open it up if there's anyone in the meeting that would like to speak for or against petition 66-23.
I don't see any hands, so at this time I've muted the petitioner so the board can take a vote. This is 66-23.
I always struggle with these. I find it difficult to find the hardship to allow a structure to be larger or than what the code allows. Uh, I don't know. Vince, do you have any thoughts on the hardship in this particular case?
I struggle with it as well. The hardship on this one being that it is an older home. The
Yeah.
lot size is what stands out to me. In any other instance where you don't have, it's 2% of the entire lot proposed even with it.
Sure. Yeah, no, that makes sense. I think the fact that the house doesn't have an existing garage is
Right.
certainly something to consider. I just 12,000 or 1,200, almost, yeah, 1,248 square feet. Always gives me a little bit of pause when it's
Yeah,
the
and
same
I
size as
didn't,
the house.
looking at the site plan, I didn't see that there were additional oversized garages in that area unless I just missed it on the site map overhead aerial. We go back to that, yeah. They're all attached.
Yeah. But yeah, I get it. The house doesn't have a garage, so I certainly understand a need to allow for, a detached garage. It's just whether or not they um,
So the deciding factor for me is the size of the lot, because at any point there can be an addition to the house, which would far exceed the size of the garage in the future and
Sure.
be with it well within the 11%.
Sure.
So if you want, I'll take this one.
I'll let you take it, Vince.
In the case of 66-23, noting the hardship of a oversized lot and the original home not having a structural garage on site and the ability to expand the home to a larger site, I am making a motion to approve the variance to build the oversized garage on the site in variance.
I'll second that motion. All those in favor signify with an aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and the staff will send out the paperwork approving the variance.
All right. 67-23 Karen Lovedina is a request for an exception to the off-street parking and loading regulations for the purpose of allowing a drive aisle of 8 feet 9 inches in lieu of 22 feet and 9021 Gravois Road, as required by the C2 Shopping District regulations and Section 1003.165 off-street parking and loading regulations of the St. Louis County Zoning Ordinance. So at this time, I'm going to request for Tony for you to unmute, and then Karen, I'm also going to request for you to unmute. Again, before anyone on your ends speak, please just state your first and last name for the record.
This is Tony Duncan, and architect.
Karen, if you are speaking, we cannot hear you.
This is Karen Lovedina. I represent the buyers of the property. We're under contract to purchase the property, and I guess what I'm finding out is we went a little bit in reverse with this process. We've gotten accepted. Every department has accepted the plans so far: mechanical engineer, plumbing, building, part of zoning. So the only thing that's outstanding is this variance. So we definitely would have, we wouldn't go over the 6-month permitting time frame. Initially, the documents that we got said that we were requesting to remain at 8 feet 9 inches in lieu of 12 feet. I have like 3 documents that say that. So, I mean, the problem with that is that, well, I don't know if you can see. Do you see my arrow on here? Oh, anyway, if we expanded it to 12 feet, it would interfere with the AC unit and the, we need a retaining wall and the plumbing. It would interrupt all that. But now we just found out yesterday it's in lieu of 22 feet. I saw it on the docket. I mean, 22 feet, we'd have to knock down the building to accommodate a 22-foot drive. Yeah, that's a good shot, this one here. You can see where there's about 3 feet from the edge of the driveway to the building. So that would make it roughly 12 feet to come right up to the building. 22 feet would go, yeah, we'd have to knock down the building.
And then just for the board's understanding of these photos, so the White House is the one in question. This like brick house that you are seeing on the right of your screen is the neighbor that's not part of this. Both do have their own entrances off of Gravois, but they do kind of merge together back here and kind of form like a circular drive. So that is the information we received from Debbie when she went out into the field.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Karen, you are free to speak. You are unmuted.
Isabel Birding.
This is Isabel Birding. The neighbor has his own driveway to get into her property. This is just ours, and we can turn around in the parking lot to go outside. That person will use his driveway, not the same one.
But they're connected.
Okay, thank you. Vince, do you have any questions at this time?
So maybe I'm still a little confused. So the variance request is for the drive out to be basically the existing line, which is roughly 8 feet, or is it for it to go to 12 feet?
It's 8'9".
Yeah,
now.
it's to keep it as it currently is out there is what they're kind of requesting. But per the zoning ordinance, they would have for them to have basically in the C2, the theory is they should be able to have a car coming in and a car coming out. And that requires a 22-foot wide drive. So that's why they're here.
This is for commercial business.
Yeah. So here's a question for staff. I mean, it's an existing site. It's already zoned C2, correct? They haven't asked for anything to be rezoned, correct?
Correct. It's already zone C2.
There is just a little bit of additional background. There's a site development plan under review right now. They're looking to reoccupy this site as a child care center. So they'll be doing some striping in the back, as you can see on the plan, and then looking to, basically reoccupy the site with the child care and reuse the existing, what would have been the driveway for the home as the access.
This is Anthony Duncan. Can I interject one thing? This hasn't been a home for many years. Before this client owned it, it was a dentist office for decades. So it's been used for a commercial use with that small commercial driveway and parking, I don't know, probably since the 80s or late 70s.
Okay, thank you.
And for the board's knowledge too, that is also kind of typical of Gravois Road. For those, if you haven't been down it in a bit, it's pretty typical for former homes. A lot of those homes on the strip of Gravois got changed to C2. So it's pretty common for a house to be zone C2 out here, and it may not have been a house for quite some time.
Is there any concerns from the county's stance that, with a daycare service, the in and outs is much more
frequent?
Well, yeah, and kind of all at this a similar time. Is there any concern from the staff?
Oh, no.
Abby, I'll let you talk to on that since you are the one maybe who has a little more knowledge on this site.
Sure, I was actually going to say that we were hoping from the petitioner to explain their plan for drop off and pickup, and how the 8'9" drive aisle will suffice.
Okay, Karen, you were going to say something. Do you want to add kind of how you are planning on doing the pickup and drop off?
Yeah, well, Sabel is going to address that. She's the director of the daycare.
Okay.
Okay.
This is Isabel Birding. Yeah, at the most, we're going to have 20 kids. It's going to be a small daycare. So they don't have the same schedule to drop off and pick up. So they're not going to be at the same time dropping off everyone. So they are going to have different times to do it. So they will have the space and different times to do this. So it's not gonna be an issue to do the whole process for dropping off and on. And it's gonna be just morning and afternoon after that, or between, there's not gonna be any cars.
Gotcha.
So, quick question, the proposed parking that we're looking at, is that for drop off or is that for staff parking?
Drop off.
Is there any parking for staff on site aside from those 4 parking spots that we're looking at?
Yes.
Okay. Where would that be?
You say,
Can Tony, Tony, can you show where that parking is?
Well, they have a site plan. We're looking at it right now. The
Okay.
parking that we need for staff per zoning is what you see there, those 4 spots.
And there's an additional ADA spot.
and the garage right there. The garage, it will be for 2 spots that were 2 of our, and actually we're just 4 people working there. So it's not gonna be too many cars parking there. And actually I'm not gonna have my car there because I live 3 minutes from this the place that I'm gonna work. So it's gonna be just 2 people parking with stuff, and the other 2, we're not gonna use the car.
The 4 spots are what's required for zoning, and that's what we need to show them to get to have this conversation.
Yeah.
Understand the number of spots is for the building. I'm looking at the access to the parking lot, which is what we're discussing for the variance is. So if you have all 4 spots with a car in them, with a vehicle in them, how does the operational turn out? How do you get in and out of there for drop off? I guess that's the part I'm still not clear on.
Oh, this is Karen Lovedina speaking. Yeah, there's plenty of room to turn around after you reverse out of the parking spot. There's plenty of room to turn around and then go out the driveway.
I guess Karen and Tony, what they're asking more for is if, say, for some reason, you have a parent in each one of those 4 spots and a parent slash staff. If say another parent randomly comes up, how do they get out? That's what they're kind of asking you is there a way for somebody who, if all 4 of those spots for some reason are filled, that somebody can turn out and get out of this area?
Yeah. They can turn around and leave the area in case all the spots are parking there. Because drop off is just leaving the kids right there at the entrance, and they're not gonna be more than 5. I mean, it's the drop off is just pretty much us taking the kids inside the building. So parents, exactly, they don't have to park there and stay there for more than 5 minutes. So if everyone is occupied, you just turn around and go out to the main street and come back, because one of the parents are gonna leave right away.
Oh, and this is Karen Lovedina. Part of her regulations of her daycare center, it's going to describe the drop off and pick up procedure, how that's going to function.
So let me add some clarity to my question. I think Gretchen did a good job of it. So if we have all 4 spots with a vehicle in it, I'm looking at 22 feet 8 is what we have for the aisle outside of there. I'm trying to confirm that a car that enters in would be able to turn around with all 4 spaces filled without having to back out onto Gravois.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Well, yeah, everyone, it's going to be crowded. There's only so much space on this piece of property. It will be crowded. They'll have to back out, back next to the porch, turn around and go down the drive aisle toward Gravois. There might be some people that are going to, there's some space, I believe, on Gravois in front of the building where they can use the front sidewalk and go up the front steps.
Yeah, but like I said, when they, it's not like they're gonna park there to leave the car. It's just drop off basically us picking up the kids and taking them inside so the parents can leave right away. So if for any reason there's someone parking there, it's because we're gonna have a meeting. I will have a meeting with them and there will be more time, but it's not like I will have 4 parents at the same time there parking for more than 3 minutes. I mean, in 3 minutes, it's way too much. And like I said, all the parents will drop off and pick up in different schedules because I have different ages, infants and toddlers and kids that are older. So when they go there and to the driveway, they can turn around without backing up. They have enough space to turn around and leave the space with the same driveway at the same space.
Yeah, and Vince, I think it's also important for us to remember the variance request that we're looking at is whether or not 8.9 or 8 feet 9 inches for an access is appropriate. You know, even though I kind of I get where, and I have some of that same concern as well, is like what happens back there that technically meets county code. And so we need to be focused on is, are we comfortable with 8 feet 9 inches there on that one section of the drive?
Understood.
So,
And it
And
is
this
good to
is
note that
a
there is
site
22
plan.
feet.
Sorry, Vince. This is a under site plan review, as Abby mentioned, so staff is looking at this currently.
Understood. Just
okay, Vince, I mean, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, I was noting that there is 22 feet beyond the building, so in the drive aisle.
Yeah.
Parking space, so.
Yeah.
To your point.
Which is, that's wide enough for two-way traffic for sure. So, I mean, there is some space there to turn around. And I think, you know, regardless of that, you know, I think my one concern is, you know, you got 2 parents, one heading out, one heading in. That's where my kind of concern is on that. And like, I guess the parent leaving is just going to have to back up and get back into the parking area. So, if we do recommend approval of the variance, so. Vince, do you have any other questions for the applicants at this time?
No, I think I've got no.
All right, Karen and Tony, and I'm sorry, I forgot the name of the other individual. Thank you for your time. At this point, I'm gonna open it up for anyone that would like to speak for or against the petition.
We don't have any hands, so at this time I've muted both Karen and Tony so the board can take a vote. This is 67-23.
All right, in the matter of 67-23, based on the existing conditions and the size of the lots in this particular area of Graveway Road, I am going to recommend approval of the requested variance based on existing conditions.
I second.
Okay, at this point, I'll take a vote. All those in favor signify with an aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the ayes have it. So we'll move this through the paperwork process, and good luck to you guys as you move through the process.
And then we never had anybody from 68-23 join the call, so we will get in touch with their representative and the property owner, and you may see them back at the next meeting. But we'll see what comes of that. So all we need is a motion to adjourn.
I will make a motion to end the meeting for October 4th, 2023, the Board of Zoning Adjustment.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, guys. The meeting is adjourned. Thank you for your patience with us, and have a great rest of your evening.
Yep, you too.
Thanks. See you guys.
Bye, guys.